In today's video, David asks, how do you know what pieces of a campaign's creative were most impactful, such as images, tone, copy, offer, etc.? The famous direct marketer Bob Stone said in 1968 that all direct marketing is based on list, offer, and creative. He said that was the fundamentals of direct marketing, and if you didn't get those right, nothing else mattered. And that gives us guidance as to what to structure our campaigns for testing purposes. Today, instead of list, offer, creative, that's segments, offers, and tagged content. So let's talk through a few of these different pieces. The first thing you will want to test for the impact on a campaign are your list segments. How have you segmented your lists? Are you segmenting them by demographics, by firmographics, by behavior? In what ways do you have your audiences tagged and delineated? I would suggest that you'd use a combination of these if your list is big enough, especially if you're using email as a core part of one of your channels. But also think about segments as the different behavioral channels that people can reach you on: social media, search, email, referral traffic. You'll want to keep an eye on each of those channels and see which ones contribute most to the campaigns. Now, in order to measure this, you need to be using tracking software that can track behaviors and interactions at a channel level and at an interaction level, and that typically means Google Analytics, because you'll want to set up goals that measure the campaign itself and the outcomes that you care about, and that will in turn allow you to measure all of those channels, the individual audience segments and stuff like that, plus some tracking stuff we'll get to in just a minute. So first up, segments. What segments are you tracking, and then how do they participate in those goal completions? The second one, which is offers, talks about creative, and this one is difficult in terms of copy on a page to test if you're just using straight up out of the box Google Analytics. To use this and to test different types of copy and tone, at least on landing pages, you're going to want to use a tool like Google Optimize, which is also free. It's part of the Google Analytics Google marketing platform now. And what Optimize does is allows you to change multiple parts of a web page, such as images, but more critically, it allows you to adjust different pieces of text on a page, rewrite it, and serve up different variations. If you have Google Tag Manager, you can get very granular about which channels you can test on. So if you want to test only Facebook visitors, you would set up a tag that says fire only on this page to traffic from facebook.com, and then fire your optimized tag at that time. So there are ways to isolate down each channel. But fundamentally, you want to use Google Optimize to test out those offers to see what copy resonates. The third part is the creative. And this is where, depending on the elements of a web page or in a campaign, such as an image or things like that, you're going to want to use Google's UTM tags, the Urchin Tracking Module tags. And we did a video about these not too long ago on tracking how to set up the campaign source, the campaign medium, the campaign content, campaign keywords, and so on and so forth. The key with UTM tags is that you want to be as granular as possible, well, as granular as you need for measurement purposes. So if you've got 5 different images in 5 different tweets, you'll want different UTM tags on each tweet so that you can determine, this is the tweet that sent us the converting traffic. And it's essential to use UTM tags in social media because otherwise everything comes in as one big blob. It's essential to use them in advertising. So if you are using any ad system other than Google Ads, and even then it's not a bad idea to use them in Google Ads, you want to make sure that your UTM tags are set up in such a way that you're tracking every individual ad, for example, in the UTM content thing, you might have light bulb image 1, light bulb image 2, light bulb image 3, so that you know very granularly exactly what variation of ads being served up match to the creative that you've invested in and the ad content that you've put out. So that's, in a nutshell, it's a very large nutshell, how you would test these pieces. Now, how do you know what's working? That's when you go into Google Analytics. In Google Analytics, under the goals section in assisted conversions, you're going to want to go from it starts on what's called default channel grouping, like search, email, social. That's a good place to start, but what you're going to want to do is flip over to the campaign settings and be able to see campaign source, campaign medium, campaign content, and that's where you're going to find out as much as you can about what causes conversion. Again, those UTM tags are going to be the lifesaver of your analytics. If you can figure out, if you can build a well thought out plan in a spreadsheet and standardize your tags, you'll be able to track very effectively every piece of the campaign, from copy to imagery and things like that, every possible variation that you're out there running with. And because you're using Google Analytics, once you go into conversions and you flip over to campaign settings, you can see within the same day what's working, what's not. So if you don't have 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever to do an exhaustive test, and you just need to get something rolling right away, by using those campaign tags, you can see in Google's conversions, hey, these are the campaign components that are leading to conversions. Now, the one caution I will have there is avoid making rapid changes to a campaign unless you've pre-designed the campaign to make those changes along the way. And the reason for that is what tends to happen is people in haste tend to screw up their tags, and then the data is unusable. The data is no longer statistically valid. So as with so many things, we say this a lot at Trust Insights, plan your strategy first, plan your goals first, plan your campaign first. Do as much of that upfront as possible. It will make the deployment of the campaign easier, and it'll make the results reliable. So make sure that you do that. So list offer creative. It's funny. That was what, 60 years ago now? And that advice still works today, because at the end of the day, we're marketing to humans. So great question, Dave. Challenging question. It requires a lot of work on your part, but if you do it, you'll be able to measure very, very granularly all over the place within your digital marketing analytics infrastructure. One thing to think about is if your company is doing offline as well, you're going to want to try and measure that, and the same ideas apply. Custom URLs all over the place, custom, with each one with its own tag. Like if you had bus ad signs around New York City, for example, every ad should have its own custom URL. So you know if it's the bus on the number 57, or it's the bus, or it's the R train in Midtown, you want to know is that train the one that's converting for you? And so be as granular as possible. The good news is, if you're even in offline, if you're sending people to an online destination, your Google Analytics infrastructure can help support you there. So very, very powerful tool. As always, please leave follow-up comments in the comments, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel and the newsletter. I'll talk to you soon. Want help solving your company's data, analytics, and digital marketing problems? Visit trustinsights.ai today and let us know how we can help you.